What's up, guys? I've got another really cool piece of heavy equipment for us to check out. This thing came in last week, but I actually wasn't here at the yard when it arrived. It is supposed to run and work, and the truck that dropped it off was able to crank it up and drive it off their trailer, but I'm dying to hear it run for myself. Before we even take a closer look at this machine and look at how it actually works, because it is a little bit odd and not exactly like a normal excavator, I'm gonna hook the jump box to it and see if it'll fire up. So let's do that first. We'll take a closer look at it, and then maybe we'll have a little fun. Thing actually fired up and ran pretty well. I did set the boom down so we could take a closer look at how this machine functions, but it operates the exact same way as an excavator. The controls are the same in the cab, and I'll show you in there in just a minute. But this machine is a Priestman VC20, and one of the biggest differences between this and a normal excavator is that sliding counterweight on the back. So you can see that large hydraulic cylinder connected to the counterweight. That's what moves the counterweight back and forth. And then the counterweight is connected to those really large steel cables that run down the length of the boom and are connected to the stick. So as the counterweight slides back, that pulls the stick away from the machine. And then as the counterweight slides forward, that slacks the cables and allows the stick to move towards the machine. Now, of course, that's basically just gravity powered. So when you're digging, it wouldn't be very effective. And that's why there's this large hydraulic winch connected on the bottom of the boom that is connected to the stick. So as you are pulling the stick in function, the counterweight is sliding up, releasing the cables on top, and this winch is pulling the stick towards the machine. This machine is also powered by a 6-cylinder turbo diesel engine, and I'm not exactly sure what model it is. It's not a huge engine, but it's surprisingly clean in this machine. I'm also not sure what year this machine is. When I first saw it and before I had bought it, I thought this thing was from like the 70s or something from the looks of it, but I believe it is either from the late 80s or early 90s. The guy I got it from, that's kind of what he let me know. But it being a turboed engine definitely makes me think it is not really all that old. And it's got a pretty simple hydraulic pump setup, and overall somebody definitely took care of this machine over time, because it has little to no leaks all over it. You can see they were marking the filters whenever they were changing them. Now it's been about 6 years or 6.5 years since that air filter's been changed, but I highly doubt anybody's actually been using this machine. This machine did weigh right at about, or actually a little bit over 70,000 pounds whenever it came into the yard. So let's check out what the inside of the cab looks like. It does still have the door on it, but of course it is missing the front glass. It took me a second to figure out how to fire this thing up, because I really hadn't looked at it. That when I hooked the jumper box to it, that was the very first time I'd actually gotten in the cab. Again, the guy I got it from did tell me it operated the same as an excavator, so I was comfortable or confident that I'd be able to run it, but I wasn't sure how to start it. So I didn't see a key, so I had to start messing with some of these buttons and switches, and this switch right here is actually the start switch. So that's pretty funny. I held that for a couple seconds and the machine never fired, and I figured there had to have been a fuel shutoff somewhere. I tried this, I figured that was either the fuel shutoff or the throttle. It turns out that's the throttle. And back here someone wrote engine on and off, so it actually has an electronic fuel shutoff. So I flipped that on, hit the start, it fired up, cranked this open some, and the machine revved up, and then we had functions. So definitely a very basic cab, definitely from an older machine. It's got a heater down there on the bottom, so that's nice, but It works, it's basic, nothing pretty. So I'm standing up on the tracks behind the cab so we could take a closer look at this counterweight setup, and you can see how large that hydraulic cylinder is and these cable ends that are connected to the counterweight. I assume that counterweight is very heavy. Obviously I don't know how much just the counterweight is, but check out this homemade pin keeper somebody put in here. It looks like that pin was backing out, or they were having trouble with it backing out, so they added this piece of steel basically to stop it from backing out anymore. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. This is definitely not a machine we're going to use for anything purposeful, but for video purposes I probably will take it to the back and try to smash a car or knock down a tree, maybe dig a hole and just see what it can do. It also looks like this machine was painted at one time. A lot of this is yellow in here and the machine is white. And then some of these hydraulic lines, the rubber hydraulic lines, are white. So that's usually a pretty good sign that a machine has been painted before. And you can sort of see the track system for the counterweight. It's got a big roller, looks like a track roller on the bottom side up top, and then some smaller rollers underneath that lip that go back and forth. Well, we successfully made it from the top side of the yard all the way to the back storage lot. Now let's have a little fun. Well, of course, the machine had absolutely no problem moving the Jeep. I was trying to scoop it low in the front so I didn't pop the front tire or put a hole in the radiator, because the Jeep still runs and I can still have a little bit of fun back here with it. And I guess I could dig some holes and make some jumps with this excavator, because this thing absolutely got an entire scoop at full reach. I was very surprised. I did not expect it to dig that well. Now, of course, it didn't want to pick the bucket up completely full of dirt. It wanted to just sort of drag it back. I think that's what that machine is more set up to do. It's kind of like a drag line with the winch there, rather than picking up and scooping it. So I didn't want to drag this dirt all the way back to the machine and then have a mound of dirt over there, but I'm still very, very surprised that it was able to dig a hole that big that far out. Well, it definitely doesn't work as well as one of our material handlers or a normal excavator, but it was still sort of fun. The hardest part with so it doesn't feel like it powers down on boom very hard. That's why when I would smash down on it, it would just sort of stop. But I was still able to smash it pretty good with the bucket by sort of using the curl cylinder, but pretty fun nonetheless. Well, guys, the unfortunate truth with this machine is it's just not very desirable and it's not that valuable. So I am actually on the fence on what I should do with this machine next. I don't know if I should actually try to sell it, or if I should just have a little bit of fun with it, make a few more videos, and then end up cutting it up for scrap. I know I've made other save or scrap videos in the past, and I usually give you guys the conclusion at the end of if it's gonna be something I save or something I scrap, but I'm really on the fence about this one. Some of the challenges with this one is how heavy this machine is. It is 70,000 pounds, so if I wanted to try to send it to the auction or try to move it somewhere else and put it for sale, it would just cost so much to transport it without knowing if the machine's actually worth it. With that being said, I probably will try to sell it from here, at least for a couple weeks. I'll post it for sale. I've actually had a few people call me that I know that have either seen the short videos or actually saw it up on the top side of the yard. But if I don't have any luck, we're not going to have a choice but to just end up cutting it up. Now, if we go that route, we are going to have a lot more fun with it. We'll smash some more stuff. We'll dig some holes. We'll knock trees down. We'll go in the woods. I got to be careful going too far in the woods. If we get way out there and then it breaks down, I'm going to have to figure out how to get it out. But other than that, it is a little disappointing to make the decision to cut this machine up because it does work. But unfortunately, it's not something we can keep forever. You see how large this thing is and how much space it takes up. Space is a very valuable resource around the scrapyard, and we can't just save things for the sake of saving them. So let me know what you guys think. If you think that I should try to sell it, what do you think it's worth? If you have any ideas on what we could do with it for fun, if we end up scrapping it, let me know. But I'm definitely on the fence. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.